Here we have our perfect page, and now we want to talk about tools. In this toolbox, we have little symbols that represent what the tool is, and pretty soon it sort of indicates how it works or what it is. If you click on or put your cursor, your black arrow, over the tool, you'll see a little sign show up that'll tell you what the tool is. I recommend that you go into your book to the tools section and read and then practice with the tools so that you have your own remembrance and an idea what these tools do. Now, let me also tell you that these tools, some of them you use consistently, constantly, all the time, and some you use every now and then, and some you may never use because there's more tools here than you find that you will be using or needing. And some of the tools are redundant. They do the same thing again. So I'm going to cover the more important tools at the moment, the ones that we'll be using. And as we go through projects and new tools come up, then I will say, here's a new tool, and this is what it does. The black arrow is called the selection tool. On that arrow, then you can click an object and say, okay, I have an object. Let me just make an object here so you can see what I'm doing. If I deselect that object, you see there's no blue lines, there's no anchor points, there's nothing around it under this black rectangle. With my selection tool, if I select it, you can see that a bounding box shows up, and the bounding box is this blue line that surrounds the entire shape that this is. And because it's a rectangle, it sets itself up as right on the line. If it was a circle, you'd see a blue square containing the circle. We'll talk about that as we see more shapes. These are anchor points that if you click on the anchor points, you can actually change the size of this device, this shape, if you want to. The anchor points here on the edges, if I grab that with my black arrow, it changes it to an east-west arrow, and you can see I can move it a little sideways and increase the size of the shape. The same thing here. I can pull it down and it changes that size. If I take my black arrow to the corner, it does one of three things. This curved arrow will actually rotate, a manual rotate of that shape if you want to just curve it, and it rotates on its center anchor point here. Now I've rotated it, and I want to go back to square as it was before, so there's a command key that you will use quite a lot called the command key is the Apple key on a Macintosh, and it's the key on the right side of and the left side of the space bar of a PC. But if I hold command and with one finger and hit the Z as in Zorro key, that takes me back one step. And if I do it again, it takes me back another step. It's an undo key, and you can go back as far as you want. There I am back to my original size. If I go to the corner, you see there's the rotate one, and then if I move it around a little bit, I get this sizing tool. So it looks like an arrow going up and down, and it's on an angle. If you hold the shift key down with your left hand, you can increase the size of this shape proportionately, which means that by width and height, it enlarges proportionately. If you don't hold the shift key down, then you can enlarge this mechanically to whatever size or shape you want it to be. Very narrow, not proportionately, but now manually you can put it to where you want it to be. See, I can come back and grab this center anchor point and move it back to the center guideline, and now I've centered this shape on the page. If I deselect with the black arrow, again, now this is not active, and I can go and work on something else, and this will stay in place. The white arrow is a direct selection tool. If I click that white arrow and go to my shape, it opens up. There isn't the bounding box. There's still a blue line that incorporates that shape, but the only anchor points you see is not the ones that are halfway down the lines here, but just on the corners. And so if I get one anchor point, this will allow me to select one anchor point. I can move just that one anchor point and change the shape. Here's Command Z back to the original shape. If I draw what's called a marquee, I click and drag those little dotted lines. That's called a marquee because it looks like lights on a theater marquee. It selects both these anchor points, and now when I pull on the line between them, you see I can pull both of them. I can, if I wanted to, I can either do the marquee or I can do click one. I have one selected. I can hold the shift key down and pull and select the second one, and maybe even if I want the third one. Now when I grab a hold of the lines in between here, you can see that there, well, let's see, make sure I got all my buttons going here. Well, I can move three of them instead of one, and you're not going to do this very often, but it will allow you to change the shape. But this white arrow allows you to select one anchor point or two, however many you want at a time. The third one is the white arrow with a plus, which is the group selection tool. Now, the group selection means you have a group. Right now I have one unit thing going here. I could make a copy of this shape, and to do that I'm holding down the option key. I'm back to the black arrow, so I have the whole thing selected. If I put the option key down, you see what happens is my black arrow changes from black arrow, if I'm inside, it's a black arrow head. If I hold the option key down, I'm getting a black and a white arrowhead, and it means I can make a copy. And if I come over here and click on that center dot, you see I'm pulling a copy down, and I have two shapes now. One is identical to the other. If I select both of them with a black arrow, they are both selected. You can see the bounding box going around everything, and that's a temporary grouping. If I want to group them together so they'll always be together, I hit the command key and the G for group key, and now they're grouped together. So no matter what I do when I select these, I always get them. I can move them, I can do whatever I want to them, but they are grouped together. But since they're grouped, I can't select one or the other. I always get them both. Now let's say I wanted to change the color on this bottom rectangle. I can take the group selection and select just it. See, it's only selected. They're still grouped together, but I only see this one. And then I can come over and, like on the rainbow bar here, and choose a color, and I change the color. But now when I go back with the black arrow and select it, they're grouped together, and I have effected a change of color here, but I didn't have to ungroup them and go through all that. So that's what the white arrow with the plus is. It allows you to go into groups of shapes and change the size, change the color, move it around a little bit without having to ungroup everything. Now those three arrows, I will refer to them as the black arrow, the white arrow, and the white arrow with the plus. And I'm not going to take the time to say group selection tool, but just know that's what it is, that it goes into a designated group and allows you to move or change or alter one of the shapes inside that grouped area. Okay, I deselect and everything has gone away here so that they are not active. The other tools, I'm going to bypass this magic wand and this lasso tool because I never use them. They're really tools that come out of Photoshop. But this magic wand is a selection tool, and it does the same thing as this black arrow, so stay with the black arrow. The pen tool, if I come here and I open that up, I'm going to just show you this tear off, and then we'll close it. I don't need to have it open all the time. But there are four tools in the pen tool. This pen tool allows you to draw with straight lines or curved lines. This pen tool with the plus allows you to add one anchor point at a time. And this is a minus, allows you to subtract an anchor point. We'll go over all this later because there's more coming, but that's what the tool is. This one allows a straight line to become a curved or corner line, and that's rare, but that's what it is. The text tool here that we've looked at a minute ago, this one shows you the kinds of, T is for text, and I can use straight up text. I can use text within a shape, like you make a circle or a triangle and you want the text to sit inside that. You use this tool. This is for putting type on a curved line, not a straight line like type normally is, but on a curved line, even a circular line. These three are the same tools, but instead of setting them horizontally, they set them vertically, like stack them on top of each other. Unless you're going to work in Japanese or Chinese or Korean. I very seldom stack type. Diagonal, not use that very much. I'm not going to talk about the rectangular tool. We've seen that. It sets up a rectangle or a rectangle with rounded corners. And let me show you. If I want a rectangle, I click here. In my color box, I have a color fill, and whatever I make here is going to be that color. If I want a square, I hold the shift key down, and it makes a square growing from the upper left to the lower right. If I want a square that grows from the center out, I hold the shift key and the option key down with my left hand, and you can see the square grows from the center out. Without the shift key, it's a rectangle growing from the center out. So you have a variety of things you can do here. So if you just want to make a rectangle and you're going to manually do it, fine. But if you want a square, the shift key and the option key lets you grow from the center out, or without the option key, just the shift key, it grows from the upper left to the lower right. Now that may sound like a lot of bumbly jumbly, but it is how the tool works. So I'm going to select this shape. I don't need it. Hit the delete key and delete these new guys that I made just as examples. And the same thing with a circle. If I want a circle, I come here, and if I hold the shift key and the option key down and click and drag, I get a circle. Now when I go back to the black arrow, you can see the bounding box of the circle shows the uppermost, the lowermost, and this sort of thing. You can talk about it like a compass, the north, the south, the east, and the west, or a clock, 12, 6, 3, 9. If I have an irregular shape, I'll do this really quick just to prove the point. And I come back with my black arrow. Look how the bounding box finds the northernmost part, the southernmost part, the west and the east for that particular shape. And if I take my white arrow with the plus and say I want just that one, and I change the shape and then go back to the black arrow, you see how the bounding box shows up, and there it is. So let's delete that and these guys and go back to what we're talking about. So here's the shapes. Now triangles and other shapes can be made there. We'll see that as we go on with further projects. The let's see, where are we now? Oh, the paintbrush, adding color, not so much. Pencil tool, a freehand drawing, not used so much. This one is a new tool that allows you to paint with like watercolor. Not going to go there yet. The erase tool, not a big tool to use. This one is a big tool, and I've pulled this one out so you can see it's the rotate tool and the reflex tool. This one actually, you can rotate something, not manually like we did with a corner arrow, but actually give it a degree. We'll see much of this later. The reflex tool allows you to make copies that actually flip and flop, so you have a right side and a left side. We'll see a lot of that later. Smudge tool, transform tool, not used very much. Airbrush, you can look at them in your page that talks about the tools and perhaps go experiment on your own, but not much we're going to use with that. Gradient or the mesh tool, very complicated. We'll see that later, or you can try it as you get more advanced. This is the gradient tool, and if I click on that, I get the gradient shows up over here in our palette, and it allows you to use 2 or more colors. So this is the airbrush ability that Illustrator has, and right now it has a black and a white color in there, but we'll come back and see this how it works. The eyedropper tool is used if you want to select a particular color and you're not sure exactly what the color is, but it's on your board. For example, if I want this black, now remember they're groups, so I'm going to select that with the group select tool, the white arrow with the plus. If I want that to be the same color and I don't remember the color and I don't know where it is, I can take this tool right here, and with this one selected, I click on the color I want it to be, and it finds that color and makes that shape the next color. So this eyedropper tool allows you to change colors so that you're matching colors instantly. There's another feature about this that's good that we'll see when we get into type, but if you have 2 different kinds of type and you want both of them to be the same, you select the one that you want to change and click that eyedropper on the type that you like, and it will change the type you're selecting into the font that you want it to be. Blend tool, read on it. I don't use it very much. Don't use this very much. Don't use this very much. Don't use this very much. Slice tool is only used when you're working on a website, and we won't be talking about that in this program because that's a lot more complicated than just to mention the tools. The hand tool is one that will move your page around. And the same thing if you have any other tool going, you put the space bar down, you get the hand tool so that you can move things easily. The zoom tool is a good tool. You take the zoom tool and say, I want to see that corner right there. So you click and draw that marquee, and it will zoom in and show you that that area. And you can get really close. You can see down here in the corner, I'm at 4,608.6.3% enlargement. That's pretty well getting in and seeing what's going on there. When you want to go back to your regular page on the command on the keyboard, hit Command and the 0 key, 0 like next to 9, Command 0, and it will take you back to the whole the size where it is seen under the ruler and on the page here. You may want to grab it and move it over a little bit because it tends to center screen it, but that's what that does. It lets you zoom in and then you can zoom back out by Command 0. Also know that Command negative will take you down little increment steps in size. Command negative, and then Command positive key will enlarge you just incrementally. So, but in the Command 0 will put you center. Okay, so those are the tools in the tool section. Some of them we use a lot, and you will see as we go that whatever we're using a lot is the a lot tools. Some you use once in a while, and some you won't use at all. But becoming familiar with the tools is up to you and your reading and your trial and error on your own computer. But the tools that we talk about the most will be the ones that you'll use the most.